Alright, guys, let's dive into one of the biggest mysteries of Game of Thrones that's always kept us on the edge of our seats. Daenerys Targaryen's unique ability to command 3 dragons. I mean, seriously, it's one of the most iconic elements of her character. Daenerys doesn't just have one dragon like other Targaryens we've seen in House of the Dragon. No, she controls 3. How is that even possible? We've got Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion, all fiercely loyal to her. And when they swoop into battle, man, that's a sight we'll never forget. But there's more going on here than just fire-breathing chaos. There's a deeper, almost magical bond between Daenerys and her dragons that we need to break down. So buckle up, because we're going on a deep dive into why Daenerys can command not 1, not 2, but 3 dragons, and what makes her bond with them so different from everything we've seen in House of the Dragon. To start, we've got to look at House of the Dragon and how that show treats dragons. House of the Dragon really gives us a window into the prime of Targaryen power, where dragons are everywhere and the Targaryens are at the top of their game. But here's the kicker. In that time, dragon riders are strictly limited to 1 dragon per rider. That's it. You claim your dragon, it bonds with you, and no one else can ride it. This is why Rhaenyra, for example, when she needs more dragons for her cause, seeks out people called dragon seeds to claim the riderless dragons. And trust me, that's not a simple process. You don't just walk up to a dragon and say, "Hey, wanna hang out?" It's dangerous. People get roasted alive if they're not worthy. But then we see Daenerys, living centuries after all this dragon rider tradition has faded away, and she's not just riding Drogon. She has Viserion and Rhaegal flying by her side, listening to her commands and following her lead in battle. That's wild compared to what we see in House of the Dragon. So why is she different? Why does she get to command 3? First off, Daenerys isn't just a dragon rider. She's the literal mother of dragons. I know. The titles sound epic, but it's more than just a name. In Game of Thrones, she hatches the 3 petrified dragon eggs. Let's stop there for a second, because hatching dragons is a big deal. In House of the Dragon, the Targaryens have this tradition where they pair newborns with dragon eggs, hoping they'll hatch. But Daenerys, her dragons had been turned to stone. There was no expectation of them coming to life. It's her sheer willpower, her magic, and that moment of sacrifice in Khal Drogo's funeral pyre that brings them back to life. This is huge. Unlike her ancestors who just waited for eggs to hatch naturally, Daenerys brings dragons back into the world. She is their mother, not just in name but in a deep magical sense, and that gives her a special bond, unlike any dragon rider before her. This connection goes beyond what we see with someone like Rhaenyra or Aemond in House of the Dragon. While they might bond with a dragon, Daenerys created her dragons. She didn't just claim them, she gave them life. That changes the entire dynamic. Now, let's talk about how she raises these dragons. In House of the Dragon, we see dragon keepers taking care of the dragons, feeding them, saddling them, basically doing all the heavy lifting for the Targaryen riders. The dragons in that show are a bit more removed from their riders' day-to-day lives. Sure, they're bonded, but it's more like a distant relationship. But with Daenerys, she's constantly with Drogon, Viserion, and Rhaegal. When they're little, she feeds them, nurtures them, teaches them how to hunt, and spends every moment around them. These dragons don't just see her as their rider, they see her as their mother. There's a love and loyalty between them that's much deeper than what we've seen in the prequel series, and it's this closeness that makes it possible for her to command all 3 of them. Think about it, dragons are notoriously picky about who they bond with. The fact that Daenerys not only bonds with 1, but all 3 is a testament to the unique relationship she has with them. From the moment they hatch, they see her as the leader, as their mother, and that's where their loyalty comes from. Let's shift gears and look at House of the Dragon again. Those dragons. Yeah, they're a nightmare to control. The dragons in the prequel series, like Vhagar or Vermithor, are ancient, massive, and have been bonded to multiple riders over their lifetimes. They've seen everything, and they're not as obedient as Daenerys' dragons. We see this clearly with Vhagar, who completely ignore Aemond's commands in the Season 1 finale. When she attacks Lucerys, Aemond can't stop her. The dragon is too old, too experienced, and too powerful to be fully controlled by her rider. She does what she wants, and that's a common theme with the older dragons in the show. But Daenerys' dragons, they're younger, smaller, and most importantly, they've only ever known her. They haven't been passed around to different riders, and that makes them a bit easier to manage. Don't get me wrong, they are still wild creatures, but Daenerys' bond with them, especially Drogon, is much stronger because of the way she raised them and the fact that they've only ever had her as a leader. Here's where things get really interesting, though. Even with all this in her favor, Daenerys still doesn't have complete control over her dragons. I mean, sure, she rides Drogon into battle, and Viserion and Rhaegal follow her orders most of the time. But remember that scene in Meereen when one of the citizens brings her the bones of a child that Drogon ate. That's a harsh reminder that these dragons are still wild creatures. After that, Daenerys locks up Viserion and Rhaegal because she realizes that she cannot control them fully. Drogon even goes rogue for a while, disappearing into the wild. This shows that even Daenerys, with all her magical connection and motherly bond, can't completely tame them. The dragons have their own will, and they act on their instincts, just like we saw with Vhagar in House of the Dragon. Another reason Daenerys struggles to control her dragons is that she doesn't have the infrastructure that the Targaryens had in House of the Dragon. In the prequel series, there's a dragon pit where the dragons are kept, and the Targaryens have generations of experience dealing with these massive creatures. They know how to feed them, how to train them, and how to control them. Daenerys, on the other hand, is figuring it out as she goes. She doesn't have a dragon pit or dragonstone to house them. She doesn't have the same resources or the knowledge passed down through the generations. She's winging it. And yet she manages to pull off some incredible feats with her dragons, leading them into battle, burning her enemies, and using them as weapons in a way that no one else in history ever has. It's a testament to her determination and her bond with these creatures. So why can Daenerys command 3 dragons? It all comes down to her being the mother of dragons, in the most literal sense. She hatches them, she raises them, and she fights alongside them. Her bond with Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion goes beyond what we've seen with other Targaryens. It's more than just riding a dragon into battle. It's about a deep, magical connection that's rooted in the very act of bringing dragons back into the world. And while she doesn't have complete control, and her dragons still have their wild moments, Daenerys is able to do what no one else can. She commands not 1, but 3 dragons. And that, my friends, is why she truly is the mother of dragons. So, what do you guys think? Does Daenerys' bond with her dragons make her more powerful than other Targaryens? Could anyone else in House of the Dragon have done what she did? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.